Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dana Schmidt-Johnson. I am the community manager of the Ritual Society and the house astrologer for Ritual Planner. Today, we're going to be talking about how to prepare yourself for a card reading, whether you're reading for yourself or maybe you're reading for someone else. It's really important that you take a few minutes of your time and prepare yourself mentally, spiritually, energetically in order to get the best reading possible. And to help us learn more about how to do this, we have brought in energy healer Mike Owen. Mike, thanks so much for being here today.
Man, I'm so honored to work with you guys and be here. I met you guys at the Denver show last month, and I'm all the way from Louisville, Kentucky, if you can tell by my accent. So I haven't even said y'all yet, but I know you're going to hear it today.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about what you do as an energy healer and your experience with tarot.
Man, that's a loaded question. I could be here all day, like I've already alluded to before we started recording. Uh, I've been doing this professionally for 18 years. Uh, so there's so many facets, there's so many different modalities and disciplines, whether it be intuitive work, tarot, pendulums, reading tea leaves, chicken bones. Like there's so many different disciplines. And I've refrained from saying but because that negates. And it all goes back to you and your intuition. So whenever I learned and trained, I went to an academy for 4 years and learned without tools, without anything. So it's kind of like learning how to ride a bike without training wheels. And then, of course, if a client wants you to put on training wheels, of course you can do it for them. It's just learning a little bit about that other modality, again, whether it's gemstones, tarot, or whatever. So, uh, everybody's got their own path, and no way is better than the other. It's just what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when it comes to reading cards, a lot of us just kind of pick up a deck, shuffle it around and pull. Why is it so important to prepare ourselves for readings?
Because there's so many reasons, and one of the main reasons is because we're spiritual beings on a physical journey right now. So therefore, we still have contact with the spiritual world. And, everybody, humans are a young species. We're still learning boundaries. That's one of the big things. We're here on two legs, learning all this crazy stuff. And it's hard. It's hard to discern what's truth, what's our imagination. And also there's other energies out there, whether it be our own programming or other energies that, just like the good spirits and the good stuff, source has positive plans for us. If you believe in light, there must be some dark somewhere. So the other side wants to slow us down from helping others as well. So that's why it's so important for a good warm up to connect in to that spiritual truth.
Wow. Yeah. And what does that warm up look like? Do you need to do it every time you do a reading?
I do. I do personally because I feel whenever I work with a client for 18 years, your business, everybody's like family. So, you love your family and you want to do the absolute best for them. You're blessed and honored to help them on their path, just like you were helped, like I was helped and mentored. And, I just want to pay it forward like that. So what it looks like for me, everybody's different, but I'll go into meditation probably 15, 20, 30 minutes, depending on how long or stressful of a day, of course. And I work differently than other people. I teach clairvoyant training. So I teach my students there's certain steps, certain buttons, certain knobs that you switch in your own psychic anatomy that most people just don't know about. I was very fortunate to have great teachers. So I teach that to my students. And of course, I add my own twist, but there's certain buttons and dials and switches and different step by step, just like when you come in at night in your house, you got a dark house. Okay, we got to turn on this light. We got to turn on the oven, warm it up for dinner. And there's other things that you do. You can't just walk in a dark house and feel around, and maybe you'll find the oven, maybe you won't. So it's all about your preparation. Just like athletes, they'll get to the field or the court, hour, 2, 3, 4 hours early, and they'll start and do it. So your warm-up determines your product.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I think for a lot of us, the warm up is just the shuffling of the cards. And I'm curious because, so much of what we focus on in the Ritual Society is doing things not as a shortcut, but is kind of like, hey, you can bring spiritual awareness to your daily life in short bursts, 1 minute here, 5 minutes there, that kind of a thing. Drawing one card is just as good as a huge Celtic cross spread. I'm curious if there are short rituals that can help, kind of turn those switches on, find the oven really quickly at times.
Yeah, there are. And there's several different things. The main thing that you can do, three things. Okay. You're going to hold me to this. You got to hold me to this because I'll keep talking. Three things. Number one is being grounded. Some type of grounding meditation ritual. You can do it physically, go outside barefoot. Of course, the winter's challenging, but that earth energy really helps to pull that stress out, pull that mind chatter out. And that's one, is grounding. There's grounding meditations where you just visualize in your mind's eye tree roots coming out the bottom of your feet and your tailbone, and then you're connected in the earth. So that is one. Grounding is the foundation for any metaphysical work. Two, the switch we talked about. There's so many different switches and dials in your own psychic anatomy that people just aren't aware of that I teach. So one is your intuition switch. Some people have a meditative practice. You go in your mind's eye, that place in the center of your head, and you just picture a switch. It can be like a breaker box switch or light switch, and that turns on your intuition. So then that helps you to focus, just like anything else. And then also what I do before I work with clients, because it's intuitive and I still am human and I have filters and opinions, I put that aside because people don't come to me for my opinion. They want their own spiritual information. They don't want whether I think their outfit is cute or not. Nobody cares about that. They want their spiritual truth. So, and I deal with abuse and trauma, unemployment, spiritual, I'm gonna deal with heavy stuff. So they don't need Mike's opinion. So what I do is I'll say an ego prayer. Everybody's got an ego, it's not just over ego. Ego is how you identify in the real world, in our third dimensional world. So I'll say a prayer, and I might use Jesus, Archangel Michael, please help the ego of Mike Owen, the ego step aside so that he can help this client on their highest spiritual path. And then I'm able to get clearer pictures so that I'm not in the way. I get out of the way and I'm just a messenger.
Yeah. And that brings me to my next question, which is reading for others, right? Do you prepare in the same way reading for others that you prepare for yourself, or are there different things to do that would help in reading for other people?
Man, it's just like, first, it's just so hard to read for yourself. It just is, because even if you try to step out of the way, there's certain times that you're just not supposed to see it. You're supposed to reach out and get help for your own humility. And also, you read yourself for 5, 10, 20 years, you're in a vacuum, you're in a bubble. It's just like playing basketball out back. You're the best in your backyard. And, and then if you never play anybody else, then you play somebody else one day and you're like, oh man, I'm not that great, or there's some things I need to work on. So if you're in that little bubble, then you can't stretch yourself. And again, the ego is the challenge, the human ego, because the ego doesn't want to be challenged. It likes routine. It doesn't like to be told no. It's like a child, that inner child doesn't like to be told no. It doesn't like that hand smacked. So sometimes for our own humility, myself included, and I still get readings. I'll go outside. I do this professionally, and I still get tune-ups and readings to make sure that I'm still on my spiritual path. So the answer is that sometimes you can do it for yourself. Other times you're just supposed to seek others for help. And my warm up is way more intense for somebody else than it is for myself. That's just how I usually do.
When you say intense, do you just mean like longer, more practices? Like, what do you do that's different?
I'll layer. I'll do things in different ways, different angles to make sure I'm hitting my energy from all these different directions. I'll use 3 or 4 grounding methods. I'll turn on my switch 2 or 3 times to make sure that it's on. Just like you're flipping the lights, like, okay, light switch works. I don't want the bulb to blow while I'm working. So, but yeah, again, it goes back to, we love our tribe, our community, our clients. So we want to do the absolute best for them, just like you're hosting this video, and I'm honored to be here with you because I know how much you love your clients. So you're doing this for them. It's not for yourself.
Well, hey, I have learned a thing or two. So, Mike, you said at the beginning that you wanted to do a reading for the group, for everyone who is watching. And I'm so excited to see you work, have you dive in and share your insights with everyone. So I'm going to give you the floor. Take it away.
All right. So once again, you got to get that hook ready to pull me off stage because, you know, I'm a talker. So, but it's really cool. So thank you for having me once again. I'm excited to work with you guys in March. Is it March, I believe? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm super excited. I'm going to take you guys through. I teach clairvoyant training. So I'm going to take you through one of the techniques I do. And even though I don't use tools, I know how to use tools, you know, like we talked about the training wheels. So what I'm going to do for you, as well as all the viewers, whoever watches this, past, present, and future, is you're going to get a genuine reading right now. So here we go. So I'm going to work with you because I don't have everybody here. So I'm going to work through you through everybody else. So I'm going to do it just like I do. So would you give me your full name, please?
Dana Schmidt-Johnson.
And your date of birth, please.
7/27/82.
And your city of birth.
Newton, Kansas.
And do I have permission to view your energy and help you on your highest spiritual path?
Yes.
All right. So this is how I set up every reading because it's very reverent and respectful. I want to respect your spirit and give you the highest quality information. I was in meditation for a half hour before we even logged on. So I am thoroughly warmed up. So first up is I'm going to look at the energy and I'm just going to tell you this is for everybody. So I'm looking at everybody's energy simultaneously, and you can't think about it with your conscious mind. You have to think intuitively. So I'm looking. So basically, anyone who's watching this now, you're watching this for a reason. You're watching this because you logged on, because you want spiritual information. You know there's more to life. So you're all about your education and pushing yourself. And the glass ceiling, it is a real thing. We all run into those barriers sometimes. So we have to keep searching. So right now you're viewing and you're searching for something. You're looking for some answers. And I believe that you might have found some breadcrumbs. I always call them breadcrumbs or clues. So whatever that is, whatever I might have said, or whatever Dana might have said, it probably sparked something like, man, you'll remember, man, I remember he or she said that one thing. I'm gonna have to research that some more. That sounds really interesting. So your motivation is going to be your curiosity. So just remember, so now, because I know this is a card, this is how I do my readings when people ask for tarot or cards. I give information because it's like a wizard and a wand. The power doesn't come from the wand. The power comes from the wizard. The wand just allows you to focus and make it's like almost like an antenna to the sky. So you can pull in a little more information and you can focus. So you're the wizard, you know, like the wand's not wagging the wizard, you know. So that's how it is. So now I'm going to shuffle and I'm going to pull a card to reinforce what I just said. Here we go. The King of Pentacles. I like cats. Me and my wife have kitties. So this is Cat Tarot deck. Amazing deck. Whoever created this deck knew cats very well. And the death card is the vacuum cleaner. So it is amazing. So if you can see this, can you see that okay? All right. You have the gift of video, so you can always pause it. So basically, what this means is the kitty's got treats. And I know a little bit about tarot, but so the kitty's getting treats. The kitty's getting all these treats, all the treats that he or she wants, you being the kitty. So you get everything that you need from spirit, first of all. No matter who you are, you got everything you need from spirit. And that's where the trick is. The fulfillment comes from spirit. It doesn't come from material, from relationships. You have to build inward first with your own spiritual integrity and resolve and truth. Then you build outward. And that includes boundaries and protections. So once you build outward, then the material things come that you want. That house, that dream house, that boat, that vacation house, because money's not bad, is what you do with it could be considered bad or negative. And then your relationships, but you have to respect yourself first. So then we get to the treats. All right, the cat eats all these treats and the treats are gone. Then you're feeling like, okay, what's next? So no matter how blessed you are, there are still levels and there are glass ceilings that we talked about. You still have to keep pushing forward. So it's not enough to watch this video and be like, okay, I listened to what he and she said. Now I can do it all. No, there is still hard work involved. You still have to rub up against that leg to get spirit to give you those blessings. You still have to climb on stuff and get corrected like a cat. You still need to be corrected and check your ego, everybody, myself included. So just because you're blessed doesn't mean that it's time to stop working. You're here in human form. There's always work to do until you pass, and then you work some more next round.
The work is never truly done, is it?
Never.
Never. Oh, wow. That was a cool reading. And I really like that deck. I think some people in our society have that deck because I've heard rumblings of the cat deck, specifically that vacuum cleaner card, because how cute is that, right? And so many of us, myself included, have cats. So definitely a connecting point. But you really tapped into the intuition piece of the puzzle when it came to that reading. And I think that that's what we're all really looking for. And so knowing that, you were prepared for the reading beforehand, you came to the table reading the energy of everyone who is watching, very cool. And it came through very clearly. I don't think anything that you said could be mistaken in any other way. And I'm sure part of that is the fact that you prepared yourself beforehand. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, I can't stress enough preparation, and and cards are good and they're tools. And I would just encourage, the only pitfall I would say is if you lean on the tool too much, is you're the one steering the ship. You've got to use the cards for yourself. And that's why I recommend just kind of tapping in, having a little warm up, and then shuffle with an intention or a question. Like, I know that you guys talk about that. And then, you have your focus. Then you kind of feel what you feel. You pull the cards before you even turn them over. What are you feeling? What emotions are you feeling? What thoughts pop in? And these aren't random thoughts. These are whispers from your spirit, from your angels, from your guides, whatever you believe in. So you get, okay, well, and you keep seeing a brick wall. Okay, I keep seeing a brick wall. What's that mean? Then you flip over the card and like, okay, I'm being blocked right now from this situation. So you just got to trust yourself, and you have to practice and work.
Trusting yourself is easier said than done, isn't it?
Every day.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much for being here today, Mike. We are thrilled. We're going to have you in March, like you said, in our Ritual Society as our March teacher, talking about all the ways to prepare for the readings and doing a deep dive on that. So we cannot wait to learn more. In the meantime, where can people find you?
My wife and I own a wellness center in Louisville, Kentucky. It's iriswell.com, iriswell.com. You can find all types of stuff. I'm a licensed hypnotherapist, so I can see the layers between the conscious and the subconscious to break those glass ceilings. I'm obviously a clairvoyant, psychic, empath, whatever you want to call that. I teach classes. I teach clairvoyant training, basically how to explore yourself. And once you explore yourself, it's easy to explore others. Use the same exact techniques. So there's all kind of different things. So check out our site, see if anything calls to you. And I'm definitely here at your disposal. And I'm really excited to work in March. So in March, I'm going to be, whoever's watching, put your big girl, big boy pants on. Cause I take you deep. I take you very deep. And I teach you how to use all these switches and this psychic anatomy that you might not be aware of. And it's probably going to be a 15 to 20 minute meditation set up. And after you're set up and in, you're going to feel that you could read anybody. Anybody could sit down in front of you and you can see and you could do anything. It feels amazing to be connected in to your spiritual truth.
Yay. Can't wait to be more connected, right? To our spiritual truths. Mike, thank you so much again for being here today. We will see you in March.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Have a good day.